I hadn't heard that quote before from Nocturne. He said, "The forecast for the night, dark with a chance of pain."
It is Nintendo we're talking about here, and he does like those invades. He does like to get very aggressive. We may very well see that. I hope we see that.
Well, they have a very strong level 1.
They
Misfortune
do.
is absolutely absurdly strong in level 1.
So
is Katarina,
yeah.
Alistar. I mean, Alistar, come on.
Yeah.
You know, it's Alistar.
Alistar.
Everyone knows the power of the horns.
Alistar is quite possibly the best champ to have for level 1 invade because that
they're
queue,
going for it.
They're trying for something. Xmithie is off on loan. They will actually see him retreat and get on out, but you do have the late waste that they are still going to have to contend with as they're forcing their way on into jungle. In the meantime, though, you did have a nice ward being placed onto Dynamics Blue over from the Corki and Lulu. But right now, they're just more unsatisfied. They got their ward, they got their placement, they got what they wanted, and will be backing off.
Yeah, so we'll see if they actually go back in again. I'm kind of curious whether or not Zion Spartan in particular might, mess around with them some, or if they go for another invade now that they know that blue's open. They can try and do something. It seems like they're going for the red. They might actually do this. This would be a great call on their part. It would be really interesting to see what they can do. If they pick someone off, that's GG. I mean, they're going to have a nice early advantage. They don't go down to the golems, it seems. So I was curious whether or not they would jump down for the golems and try and maybe grab Corki or Lulu, but they will be able to grab this red pretty easily.
They are actually...
And Karthus grabs the wraiths in the meantime, so they actually just go back for the blue.
Everyone we'll just mutual steal the wraiths. They'll be fine. But that's the thing about Karthus, though, is that he only needs himself and the wall. He doesn't really need a whole lot of support to actually go ahead and take those. And hopefully we'll be seeing him do that. We'll be seeing Mandatory Cloud be doing that quite often throughout the course of the game to keep that farm up, to really get himself on a nice drive in terms of gold now on into the mid game.
And they are doing the lane swap.
Yes, they are. There you go. Mash Me
There's
and
the
Pixel
call.
going up top lane. You got Katarina on her own down bot. And already backing Zion Spartan. What is he looking to buy? What is it, possibly a ward or two, something?
Just some health pots.
6
wow.
health pots. He needs to sustain. He needs to stay there quite a bit, and he's recognizing too that Muffin Cutie on Lulu, those glitter lances, they can hurt. All that harass coming from Lulu can hurt quite a bit.
Cruiser's, kind of screwed in this lane. It's going to be tough. Rengar's, he can't really do the 1v2 very effectively. He has his E, the Bolus Strike, to try and get some farm, but it's actually, it's on a pretty long cooldown. He can also heal a little bit once the wave, he has the clear, that's nice. He has, with his double W, as long as you charge it up, he's going to be able to clear the minion waves very quickly so that it prevents damage from going onto his tower. But like you had been talking about, they're using that Katarina for that 1v2 potential. So they definitely like that 1v2 setup. And that's going to be interesting. I also think it's interesting that he goes for W first. And we talked about the previous game that he went for this W first. It allows him to actually kite around fights a little bit easier. Like, he's not going for the Shumpo, so it gives him some more mobility, but it makes it more difficult for him to farm at level 1. And Xmithie walking right into Nintendo. He's going to go down for the first blood. Or actually, there it is. No first blood. There it is.
There's the message. But Muffin Cutie does have to flash on out to get outside the turret range. You got Niendo also taking a big shot. But he does use the Valkyrie, he does get the safety, and there is Cruiser now struggling to farm with a huge, that's like 2 waves worth of creeps that he is struggling to just farm up at this point. And
Nien has the double buff bot though, so
that's
for how much Cruiser is in trouble in that top lane, I think it's doubly so for Zion Spartan in the bottom.
Yeah, but both of the solo laners are being heavily denied at this point. They're still in single-digit farm. You look at the ADs in comparison, and Nien is starting to take a little bit of a surge. Plus, also, now he has the first blood. He's got the extra bonus gold. The kill in itself was worth about 20 creeps. So he's essentially, he's essentially doubled up creep-wise already on MF.
Yeah, no, he's in a great situation. He's going to be able to free farm in that bottom lane. There's really nothing that Zion Spartan can do about it. Nocturne, he's not going to be back there for a while. I mean, if he does, then it would be folly on his part. But I don't know. I'm curious to see how they're going to respond to this, how both teams are going to respond to this. Xmithie coming up in the top lane. Can he get the rupture? It doesn't hit. And actually, Cruiser has to back out. The flash from Don't Match Me. It picks up the kill just enough. And Xmithie's close to going down as well. Can they actually 2v1 him? That would be the question, but it seems they back off for a second.
It'd be ideal, and I think they just want to play it safe at this point. They got their kill. I think they're more than happy with that. But Nintendo's now coming on up. There is the kill.
Oh, he's going to tank it for him.
He's going to try. He's going to try his best. The fear will not be going off, but he is still ignited. Well, not be, actually no, this is
just the MF passive.
This is an MF passive. It's the same icon. It's just no burning. I keep forgetting about that.
It's a different kind of burning, though.
It's a
burning that feels really good.
No,
never mind. I was trying to go for something. It didn't work.
That's all right.
But Misfortune,
that's how you know it's working.
Yeah,
that's how you know
Misfortune,
pain is beauty. Pain is beauty.
One of the things that I think is cool about Misfortune in the top lane is not only is she really good against bruisers, but she also can roam out of that lane. So it's easier for them to do lane swaps because Misfortune spends less time, wandering around the map and running back and forth. But it's also, it's just, I don't know, it's a good situation altogether. She can join for fights down at Dragon, even though she's up top. She can help her team in the jungle really effectively. And she has all of the damage she needs.
Oh, yes. 2 Dorans right there.
She's got the boots that are made for talking.
She's got the boots. She's got the moves. She's got the hips. But she's got the gun. And she's got quite a bit of power in that gun. But here's the thing.
All those other kids with their pumped up kicks, they better run from Misfortune's gun.
Oh, man, I forgot about that song, too. But here's the thing, though. Nien, he's gotten quite a bit of decent farm, but he hasn't backed yet.
Yes.
So he doesn't. When you're in a 2v1, you don't necessarily need to back as often as you were to try and keep up, building up your items, because you're not going up against, of course, another AD and support. But because Dynamic backed here in the top lane, they did lose out on a fair amount of creeps. They were already behind Yen, but now the fact that they've left lane, the fact that they've just allowed the opposite lane to stay there and farm. There's no pressure being built there. There's an additional 20 creep lead being built for Mono's bot lane. However, hopefully Dynamic can actually use that extra oomph from those 2 Doran's blades and continue to stay aggressive with that Alistar to actually take out that tower first before Nien and Muffin Q can take out theirs.
Yeah, I think that Cruiser's going to be in a dangerous enough situation that he's not going to be able to defend the tower as effectively as Katarina could. Katarina's still, it's a really terrible situation, but she has the Doran's shield. Both of them do, actually, and that helps negate a lot of that damage. And I think her AoE clear is going to help. It's going to be a little bit more consistent to allow them to counter out that push. Mandatory Cloud, he does grab that blue, but we'll have to see how it's going to work. They do get the great steal, and Paradoxical, just seeing them on the back end, they just kind of went in for it. Zion Spartan, they're going for another tower dive. They're going to get this pretty easily.
There's Muffin Cutie getting the slows and the exhaust. Shunpo to get
Rupture.
away. Rupture pop up. Karthus ult very low. Orianna's shield not going to be enough. Another kill down on the Zion Spartan here. And Baba, here comes Nintendo. He wants to make something happen. He's got that spell shield. He's got the ultimate too. Quick kill, Muffin Cutie, X-Smithy with the Rupture. He does not have the flash up, and he will not be getting away. So nice counter gank coming in from TD.
It's actually really impressive that TD recognized that they could win that situation because it was still a 3v2, and they ran in knowing, all right, Lulu's pretty low. She's not level 6 yet. She's still only level 5, and they've already burned a lot of their spells. They burned their ultimates. They burned all sorts of things. So let's just dive in. Nocturne and Orianna, they can kill Lulu almost instantly. They forced Corki to retreat because he was kind of scared and he didn't want to fight underneath the turret, and they're able to chase down Cho'Gath. So great turnaround on their part. Mandatory Cloud coming up in the top lane. If he can get the wall, he might be able to pick up something. Cruiser, he's still invisible because he knows he can't really get in there, but he's going to dive onto Don't Match Me anyway, get the stun, back off the exhaust. They pick up the kill, and then turning onto Pixel as well. They want to chase it down. Can he get it? Karthus actually really close to picking that up, but the flash for Pixel, he barely gets out of there.
So low on mana that All-Star. If he just had only about 20 more, one Pulverize or something would have just killed enough time on Cruiser.
Cruiser was so low.
He was so low. Something, anything.
Joe's
but here's
going
the
for
Rupture. X-Smithy coming on in. The Feast not enough to get the kill, but the auto attack will. But here's Nintendo here looking to clean up, but Mandatory Cloud is too close by. He cannot attempt that kill safely.
But you can see Mono, they're the forcers, they're the aggressors in this situation. They're forcing all these situations. It's not usual for you to see Karthus roam out of that mid lane.
No, it's not.
Usually Karthus can't quite leave. Paradoxical out of position, and Mono just constantly putting on the pressure. Perfect juke from Paradoxical. He gets the flash as well. He gets out of there. So you see Mono, they're putting on the pressure, and it's just Dynamic responding. So the first fight that they had won in that bot lane, it was because they had a really nice response, and with the Nocturne, they can do that. They can try and counter out some of this aggression. That's the key for Dynamic right now. They need to recognize, all right, Mono, they're roaming all over the map trying to pick up kills. What can we do to meet their aggression and then make them pay for it? And that's where the ward coverage comes in.
Yes.
That's where oracles come in, and just being flexible as a team, using your mobility to try and respond to situations.
We're not seeing an oracles just yet, though. But there is still plenty of gold pretty much across both teams where anyone can really, at their own convenience, just grab one, pick one up. Would you expect to see one actually in the relatively near future?
Yeah, on both of those junglers, it wouldn't surprise me. I think Nintendo might be a little bit more hesitant to get one, just because he wants to be really aggressive, and I don't know, that kind of aggression, it could be dangerous for him to get into Oracles. It could throw him behind, and Nocturne's kind of squishy already, so he needs to get into his build pretty quickly. So if he falls behind, that could really suck. But I would expect Cho'Gath to get it at least, and that Xmithie getting the Oracles, it would allow them to still be aggressive and take out some of those wards that Dynamic is looking to place. I mean, look, you see up and down their team, they have wards in their inventory. They have them on the map, but they have them in their inventory. They had 4 for a second. They just used another one because they want to make sure that they can try and counter out the aggression from Mono.
Nintendo now making his appearance here in top lane, straight up smacking that tower as much as they can, and that will be the first tower of the game. Dynamic taking to tier 1 up top, but very shortly thereafter, not far behind, there's Mono with the first with the tier 1 down in bot. So pretty even on those pushes. They managed to just get both of those evenly. Usually when you see a tower taken down in any lane following a split push, you're going to see them change back. And you got Alistar actually just already starting to make his way down bot here to help out Zion Spartan because he's getting chunked out huge. In the end, he's throwing those missiles down.
Nocturne and Orianna are waiting though.
Oh, this could be bad for Mono. You got Nintendo. His ult is actually back up, but you see in the end he's actually sticking a little bit too far behind. Muffin Q's like, dude, what are you doing? Get out of there, man. This is not a good situation. But recognizing there wasn't too much of a great opportunity, Dynamic does decide to split off, but they are wandering down to mid and also around the dragon area. Yen and Muffin Cutie are there, and they will start the dragon, but here comes Alistar, and now Pixel throws on the ward, and now Dynamic knows Dragon is about to be contested.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be a little bit passive on this. I think they'll back off of this because they recognize Alistar's bot. They know that Misfortune's up top, so if they force a fight right now, they have the AD carry advantage, which could really work out well for them. But I think they were also kind of thinking Alistar might be top or they might not have vision.
Yeah.
So now that they know that that's not true, they're going to back off.
Yeah.
And don't mash me, he can still just kind of farm up there. It looks like Dynamic might actually be going for it now, though, but they don't have vision, and there's a pink ward right there.
Xmithie, they do have they got a little bit of something over the ridge, but there is that pink ward right in front of the pit, so yes, Mono.Ferus, they do have an idea. Here comes the Karthus ult in front with a little bit of damage down to Dynamic, but there is the Nocturne ult just to block vision, just to make sure that there's not there's going to be a harder time for Mono to get that steal. They do secure that dragon, but there is the Rupture coming in. Cruiser to Bruiser, nice pulverize there to keep the Rengar away temporarily, but here comes Mashme with a little bit of damage. Headbutt backwards, Cruiser and Xmithie, can you close the gap? Leap from outside of the bush!
But in the meantime, Katarina is in their own jungle because she was chased the entire way around by Mandatory Cloud. She's very low if they can catch up and close in on her, but she's trying to get back to her team. She Shimpos over to Don't Mash Me. The Rupture, it does not hit, but Cruiser, he's going to be able to get the slow if they can follow this up.
Zion Spartan is silenced, and Katarina is pretty much useless when she's in that state, but running through those brushes, that is a bad place to be running away from a Rengar.
Don't Mash Me, Mandatory Cloud, one more Q, he'd be able to pick that up, but not quite able to get on her, and so they do back off, but a nice 1-0 advantage actually for Mono, and they're just constantly forcing this kind of aggression around the map. They're looking for that mid turret. Nintendo is actually trying to clear out some of it. The Orianna could come in. Orianna still has the ultimate, so they have to watch out for that. But Nintendo dropping very low. Orianna could actually ult them underneath the tower. This is really dangerous for them right now.
She's got it. Is he going to see it? No, there is the kill down onto Nocturne first. No Orianna ult used just quite yet.
She's a little low on mana.
Is very low. Yeah, that's the danger, though. It's like once you use the ult, what follow-up do you have? Not a whole hell of a lot. And at the very least, you try to use that shield to keep people alive, but it didn't do too well for Nintendo.
Yeah, they were able to surround him and take him down, and I think he was kind of expecting maybe that Orianna ult would be able to help out as well. So he's trying to get him to group on him, and it didn't really work. Don't Mash Me trying to get some damage into that turret, but they're going to be able to protect it a little bit. So it's a 1.5k gold advantage for Mono right now. They can kind of group up back in their lanes. They probably want to split up into lanes again to keep up their farm. But if you look at the farm so far, 15 minutes into the game, 152 CS and 2-0 on Corki. And now you want to talk about, Nien versus Aframu and whether there's any drop-off or anything. Let's discuss the 150 CS Corki at 15 minutes in the game, going in for Zion Spartan if he can pick this up. He does not have the slow. He didn't go for that phage. He went straight for the damage with the Infinity Edge, but so he is able, or Katarina is able to back off. But that damage in team fights now, that's devastating. If they can force fights with Corki right now, they're going to easily come out ahead.
Yeah, and you know how on track an AD carry is by the time they get that first Bloodthirster or Infinity Edge or finish off the Trinity Force.
15-minute Infinity Edge.
That's good. That's really good.
That's pretty damn good.
Like, ideally, you want it before 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But 15 minutes to have
if you get it before 20 minutes, you know you're ahead.
Right. To have it before 15 minutes, like, just damn.
Yeah.
Damn. That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that is pretty good, and it's the fact that Karthus, he's a little bit behind where you would normally want Karthus to be at this point, but he's still farming well, so they're going to have nice AOE damage. Karthus is going to be able to get everyone low, but they have the backup with Corki, so they have some really nice damage as a team, and I don't know, that really takes a lot of pressure off of some of the rest of Mono. It's really going to help them in fights. Frangar's keeping an eye on Misfortune, though. Wants to see if he wants to dive in. I think he doesn't want to use his ultimate, so he wants to know if mashMe runs close enough to him, but she doesn't.
Or at the very least, Rengar is like, candy. I want candy. Those candy canes, they look delicious. I could use some food. I could use a snack. But Rengar will be just fine. He does farm up a little bit of creeps, and he's a little bit indecisive about where he wants to go right now. Cruiser's like, do I want to go back top? Do I want to help out everybody in mid? Mid. Everyone's having a party. I'll be sure to be down there momentarily. So Muffin Cutie, first Oracles of the game. We saw him clear out quite a bit of coverage too. We were talking about that Oracles play, and looks like Mono.Ferus will actually be winning the race on that one, getting that investment in. Also, a quick item update actually for the rest of the teams. You got Orianna, you got the Chalice, and you got 2 GP10s. You got the Heart Gold, and you also got the Pick. But Needlessly Large Rod, though, is going to be helping out that damage immensely. There is MF with the Bloodthirster, just freshly bought. Not a single stack on that thing yet. Still brand new mint in box.
I'm curious. I don't think that Orianna is really going to be using the Cage's Pick for Deathfire's Grasp in particular. I think it's really just there to give her some gold. Like it's an ability power item that gives some gold generation. Paradoxical wants to farm really effectively. He thought that the mid lane might turn into kind of a free farm lane, which is normal for Karthus. So that's mostly the goal. I mean, who knows? Maybe like Morello's might come back into play, considering that Cage's wasn't nerfed. It was just the Deathfires.
Yeah, it could be. Actually, think about this. That gives a healing reduction, correct?
No, it's cooldown reduction and mana regen.
No, it has an active though, doesn't it?
Morello's does?
Didn't they added the active? Didn't they?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think they added the Grievous Wound to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
They did. I can't remember.
That would be cool. I didn't. Yeah. If they did, then that, I mean, I don't know. In my mind, it was kind of a worthless item, but that definitely gives it a little bit more utility.
we may see it come into play. We may see. We'll have to come. We'll have to check back later on. And also looking over on Mono side. Actually, first off, before we go back into that, you do have those GP10s in Orianna, and sometimes when you know you're winning in a lane, and you know you just want to keep that goal lead.
Oh, Nien, he could Valkyrie in for that kill.
Not going to risk it. Not going to risk it. Actually,
well, he doesn't have vision of Nocturne. He knows once he commits into that turret, there's a high probability that he's going to get himself killed. Whereas right now, he can just deny farm from Zion Spartan, free farm himself, 1845. He's going to hit 200 CS before 19 minutes.
Wow.
So that's insane on your AD carry. He has the blue buff as well. He's incredibly powerful. The top turret, it does go down for Mono, and they're just able to constantly bully them around. Corki really is going to take a lot of control over this game now.
This is going to be huge. Absolutely huge for Nien. What was it? GP10s, Orianna. Recognizing that you're so far ahead in the lane, that you're far ahead, and you want to retain that lead.
Oh, they're going for the dragon.
They are.
X-Smithy and Cruiser, they're going to drop that turret, so they're actually going to give up their second-tier turret. Orianna trying to zone them off a bit.
Paradoxical, can you make something happen? Can you just get them off your damn turret? You got the rest of the team. They got the dragon. Using the ult just to push them on back, let them know that you are serious, that you don't want them near your stuff. And actually going to be reasonably successful.
They're all grouping top. I think they're going to push this turret down.
They could get crunched though by the rest of the dynamic actually coming on their way up. There's a very limited period of time where you can try and catch them off guard. You got one bush, you got the other
Oh,
vision.
I hope he doesn't walk into Karthus.
Pixel, don't do it. Pixel, don't do it. Walking right in front temporarily. A kitty bought by the polymorph. Nintendo out in the back. Throwing off the ult just to reduce the vision. Throws up the spell shield. Also, Cruiser slightly isolated, but Nintendo dipping in back and forth. Can he actually get out of this madness? There's no mash beat. Looking for a little more damage. Nintendo going to be the first one to go down in this
Misfortune
fight.
crushed them.
Mandatory Cloud going to be going down next. And there is Zion Spartan, but the Karthus ult, how many will you get onto that? None. No kills off the Karthus ult. Orianna Orb picking up that one, and that is huge, 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 huge double kill.
Wow, that's like as bad as it gets for Mono. They have the gold lead. They have, you know, a great situation. And I honestly, I was shocked at how much damage they took from that Misfortune ultimate and some of that Orianna poke, because Corki coming into the fight was like at a quarter health, and a lot of it was just standing in the Misfortune ultimate.
Yes.
That ultimate single-handedly just AoE'd everyone down, and so then they were safe. They were able to kite effectively and just keep on backing up. Corki didn't even get to use his gold advantage because Misfortune single-handedly beat Corki in that team fight.
Yes.
It was the AoE, and then when they all grouped up, Misfortune actually ran Corki down, and he was taking turret shots, went down without actually attacking anyone, and they were able to snowball that fight. So really impressive fight by them, being able to kite, being able to take down Karthus. That's not what Mono's looking to do with their gold lead. They lose their second mid turret, and that's a really dangerous situation for them. We'll see how they kind of rebuttal from that, but they lost their oracles as well. That's going to hurt them some.
Here's what they're going to try to do. Are they going to try and rush this? And they recognize that everyone from Dynamic did have to back for the most part. There's Nintendo out in front with the oracles. Yes, freshly bought. You do not want to lose that thing on first get-go. But what Nintendo's presence is doing here is that he's killing the rest of his team, but he may go down very quick. Do not lose that oracles just yet. No, it is gone.
Oh, can they get Zion Spartan?
Wasted. Zion Spartan out in the back. He's disabled quite a bit, but here comes Elster looking to help save the day. He got the Orianna Orb, looking for a little bit more shield, and the MF ult nearly wrecking everyone. Almost took down Mandatory Cloud just on that alone.
Yeah, but Corki's full, and he was able to take down the end, so they can still turn this around as long as they keep Corki alive. They're actually going for the red buff as well, but they have to watch out for Dynamic on their bot side.
Pixel, he's out in front. A little bit of CC on Corki could mean the world, but everyone from Mono is actually moving on back.
Paradoxical, Corki over the wall.
Paradoxical is a little bit split, and there's the wall of pain to keep him in there.
And the Baron's going to kill Paradoxical.
Aggroed. And that he's going to be, you're giving him a high five later, then you're going to kill him for that Baron buff when you go in and grab it.
The Vorpal spikes activating the Baron and allowing Orianna to go, or killing Orianna essentially for them. But they're able to back off, and Mono doing a really nice job in that fight of kiting and taking the advantages they could. But the Misfortune AoE, I remember when Misfortune was originally nerfed, her AoE. I mean, her AoE single-handedly won games, and everyone was just like, all of a sudden, she's worthless. You can't even play her because she's so terrible.
It's called positioning.
And they buffed her AoE some, but not that significantly. It's really just, the fact that she's able to get the AoE off before the fight happens, and the fact that she's able to get a full channel, and it's fights in the jungle, because it's in the jungle. The AoE, it's not a very wide AoE, but it actually takes up almost an entire jungle lane, so it's just enough that when they're in the jungle like that, they're leaving themselves vulnerable to it, and it's actually really setting a Dynamic up for some nice fights. Brilliant. Setting up Katarina as well.
Absolutely, absolutely brilliant. And it's that damage that you saw, like, okay, hey, we're being ulted, and immediately mME Ferus recognizing how low they got. Just the ult alone was more than enough to actually deflect that push further on into the jungle. That almost got Mandatory Cloud. One more bullet would have actually killed that Karthus just alone.
Yeah, it really is devastating. I'm curious how they're going to combat that. They do have the Aegis on Shogas. That's really going to help them out a lot. You see Corki actually getting Red Elixir, so he's that concerned, and he's dropping pretty quickly in that AoE sometimes. He was not in it that time, so they were like in a good situation. But I think he kind of recognizes that he can't allow himself to get caught in it.
Paradoxical, you need to hurry up with that blue buff because the rest of the team needs you. Nice pulverize down on the 3 members of Mono. Pixel falling on back to turret. That turret is about half health, the tier 1 in mid, but it looks like mME Ferus is looking to show off their guns just a little bit. Karthus actually going on off to the side, needs to pick up that farm in the top lane, make sure you get that push going. But you know what? There's a pretty healthy push actually for 2 of the 3 lanes for Mono, and actually clearing off these creeps will actually help the top lane to push out a little bit too. But there is the orb, help clear the way for Pixel. The ward coverage, though, I gotta say, is a little bit is starting to come back up. It's a little bit lacking for a time from Dynamic, but you do still have the oracles on Muffin Cutie. That's the thing, though, and that is still huge. The fact that Muffin Cutie's been able to hold on to that, unlike Nintendo, who, well, now that's the second one. Last time he bought one, he died immediately.
Yeah, I mean, he is going to be a little bit safer to hold on to that oracles. But I think Nintendo should be okay. It's just he needs to worry about his positioning in fights. It's going to be interesting to see how he's going to, you know, try and initiate fights for them without just instantly getting himself killed. You know, the oracles on both of the teams, it really sets up an interesting fight situation here, though, because I think the AoE from Misfortune really helps them coming into the Baron Pit, and those AoEs, oh no, Nien almost going down, Lulu saving him, just barely getting cut off.
Ult for ult, so Orianna ult being used. Tried to get a kill on Nien, but forces out.
Does Nien have, is that Executioner's calling?
Onto Nien, yes. Yes, it is actually. And I remember, because it was a while ago, but I remember when we had Pluto in here.
Yeah.
There's a small discussion about when you're playing as an AD, when you have that early Vamp Scepter. Well, I'll talk about that later because we got a huge fight coming on up. You got Intended actually using the ultimate, go straight on, wants to get the kill on Muffin Cutie, wants to get rid of that Oracles. There's Pixel out in front, taking a whole bunch of damage. You got the MF ult actually going into 3 members of mME Ferus, but Cruiser to Bruiser, he knows his target and he wants it, but will not be able to get it. Gets too low, and Zion Spartan taking that kill. Intended taking up quite a bit, but now Zion, it's his turn. Xmithy will not get the feast that he wants. He wants the rest of his dinner, but cannot get it. Mandatory Cloud gonna be going on down, but here comes the Karthus ult, and this could be huge. Only 1 member, only gets Nintendo. 3 for 2 in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, it was still a really effective fight, and I think the scary thing to consider is that Misfortune actually wasn't that involved in that fight. She threw off her original AoE, and then she was kind of sidelined for a lot of the time. She walked up into the brush above river and actually wasn't attacking for most of it because she was kind of concerned that she might go down.
Yeah.
So imagine if she had, you know, been in that fight positioned a little bit better or been able to follow up. You know, she might have been able to run a couple of them down. But it's interesting that they use the Alistar to body block for Misfortune. And a lot of times you think, all right, Misfortune, she's stationary when she's ulting, chasing down the end, and despite how fed he is, Misfortune has a lot of damage herself, and she actually wins that exchange. But instead of compare, or one of the issues with Misfortune AoE is that she's stationary. She leaves herself vulnerable. But Alistar in this situation, he's just completely zoning out the enemy team. He runs at them with his ult on, and they just stand in the Misfortune AoE because they're too scared to do anything else. And now you see Dynamic, they're going for this Baron, but Mono's in position. They're actually going to be able to stop this.
Xmithy going to be leading the charge along with Cruiser. Nice pulverize from Pixel, getting 2 members out in front. Zion Spartan using the ult, trying to front load a little more damage, but will not be having that for the next big fight if it were to happen right here.
Misfortune's low on mana, though. She's not going to be able to use her ultimate in this upcoming fight.
No, she's not. The ultimate digs about 100 mana. You still have some, but you can only use so many abilities with that low mana. But I think that's Dynamic's cue to just back off for a second, heal on up, buy, and then try again.
Yeah, so really interesting strategy from Dynamic. And going back to what you were saying about the Executioner's calling.
So, yes.
That is an interesting point. The fact that when you get that first Vamp Scepter, it's kind of annoying sometimes to wait and get the entire Bloodthirster, as you know, it's just such an expensive item.
And the best part about it too is that you do have the active on it. It does apply to Grievous when it does reduce healing, and there's really only 1 member on Dynamic right now that you'd actually be using it on, and that's MF, because you already have the Bloodthirster. Is it maxed? It is maxed. If you can manage to get the active onto MF, even if it's going to do so much for
and
her regen.
I think that's the idea, is that Corki, he wants to be able to win those 1v1s against Misfortune.
But he didn't.
No, he definitely
clearly
didn't.
Did not.
I think part of it...
He's got the gold lead on her, and he still didn't win.
Part of it is he wasn't dealing any damage. Misfortune got in a couple of free hits before Niem even responded.
Yeah.
So that is a good situation. They are actually going to move in. They take that mid turret, and they're actually still, it seems, pushing into Dynamic. They have to worry about their poke, though, and actually the Rupture. If they can grab Misfortune in the Rupture, that would be awesome for them. Like if Xmithy, you know, is able to take down Misfortune, that would be huge, but they're all very low. Paradoxical already getting some nice poke on them.
Paradoxical does get polymorphed, but the rest of mME Ferus does decide to back off. You got Nintendo on the side with that Oracles, wants to clear out a little bit more coverage. But Mono, they're still looking to get a little bit of a push. xMithy making his way around. Is he at full stacks yet? No, he's one short, and he's out in front. Does not get fear tethered, but that is the wall of pain to keep anyone from moving forward anymore. You got the rupture on 2 members of Dynamic, but the wall pain is down, and Nintendo's actually, he's edging on in. You can tell he wants to engage, but you can tell right now, mMeFerus actually split from the rest of the team. There is an opportunity, just a matter of will Dynamic take it.
Yeah, it seems that they didn't really capitalize on it, so they were able to back off for a second. Not able to pick off Lulu or force a fight against the rest of them.
Spartan, don't get out of position. Please don't get out of position.
Yeah, I think he's going to be okay, though. He has the Shippo. He has to worry about xMithy on his backside, though, and Nocturne actually uses the ultimate to try and help him out. He dives on the mMeFerus, sets up Zion Spartan, who's actually going to use the ult in the back line, potentially. Lulu's very low and had to actually ult herself, and Corki is not a part of this fight, so Mono, they really need to just get the hell out of there. Corki and Karthus are kind of out of position. Alistar not able to engage on anyone. So kind of a missed opportunity. Dynamic, they used the Nocturne ultimate when they see that Corki's down bottom, and they couldn't really make anything happen off of it.
With that, knowing that they didn't get anything, they are going to fall back just for a second. And don't mash me. For MF, he needs that mana. He needs to keep that mana high just in case in these middle of these fights that he needs to get that ultimate. He cannot be engaging a fight with like 200 mana. That's just practically just 2 abilities, one of them being the ult. Given the chance that he actually gets to use it. He needs to stay healthy in these fights, and you're seeing Dynamic actually back quite frequently here. And at this point in the game, that's pretty dangerous, because if you get like 2 members backing and you don't have the proper coverage over in front of Baron, Mono.Ferus could just run on in and sweep it up.
Well, I mean, particularly with the Karthus. Karthus can just, kill Baron so quickly, and how much damage Corki has. So Corki has very high sustained damage compared with when you go a Trinity Force build. The sustained damage is significantly greater. He doesn't quite have the same survivability that Trinity Force would provide him, but he's definitely going to be very strong. And xMithy trying to get what damage he can against Don't Mash Me. Pretty inconsequential, not a whole lot there, but still trying to force them out as Karthus is actually dueling with Orianna in the mid lane.
And you also got mMeFerus looking to split up all of Dynamic, and successfully they have the rupture, not going to be hitting onto Paradoxical, but Dynamic needs to reroute themselves and gather back up here in the mid. You got xMithy, no fear, charging on in, rupture not hitting anything, fear tether not going to proc either. Nintendo out in front, he wants to start these fights, he wants to make something happen. His ultimate is not quite up yet though, he's still got about 30 seconds. And Mono.Ferus still jumping in front of the bit, and they will be starting this Baron.
And
there is no vision.
xMithy's tanky enough that he's zoning them off. They have to know that it's going on right now. They're trying to force their way into this, but the Baron is really low. Rupture
and Nintendo going to be eating some of it, and the Baron goes down already. But MF, you got your great positioning from Don't Mash Me, and right now they are engaging on a Mono.Ferus with Baron. You got Cruiser to Bruiser doing what he can. Zion Spartan going to be going down, but here comes the Karthus ult. Will he be getting anything off of that one? No, but they are still very low. I think Mono
might want to get out of this, though. A couple of the members are low, but Nien's very low, and Misfortune's looking pretty healthy, so they need to watch out. Or actually, Paradoxical trying to cut him off. They are going to cut them off. Don't Mash Me sitting off here. If Pixel actually gets the headbutt pulverized combo, there's some AoE from Misfortune. There's the combo Cruiser. He takes down Nocturne, but Don't Mash Me trying to get xMithy. He grabs that, and then Paradoxical coming in as well. That's not what Mono needed right now after being able to pick up that Baron.
Pixel saving his butt with a quick convenient heal. Nien, you got the flash coming from Don't Mash Me.
He has it.
Clean up. Yes, that is the ace for Team Dynamic. Very masterfully done. It doesn't matter if you lose the Baron, you still got the fight anyway. mMeFerus is going to be the first one back up. There's the shield onto from Orianna down onto MF, tanking the turret like a boss, bringing it down, just waiting for the minion line. They should be able to take out the turret. The inhibitor, not so much. They are going to definitely back off this, just barely in time to avoid the threat that is Lulu, and that slows because Karthus is right behind her.
And Mono, they just got a little too excited. I mean, they had the Baron. They saw a couple of the members were pretty low, and they decided to force the fight. That was brutal to watch because they're not able to get in Don't Mash Me's face. Even there, you saw the beginning of that fight. Don't Mash Me was safe the entire time, and actually Katarina did a number on the end. Katarina dove into the back line, and because they didn't have any CC, Katarina rocked both Nien and Muffin Cutie. Pixel, again, zoning them off for the Don't Mash Me ultimate, but really interesting. They didn't have any damage or anything onto Don't Mash Me.
There's Zion Spartan going straight on, and the Karthus goes down, and the rest of the fight, what happens there.
Katarina actually single-handedly took out Lulu and almost killed Corki, and that actually set them up pretty nicely for Don't Mash Me to turn that fight around.
We are going to be back to live in just a second. There we go. So now after that, you've got Dynamic, who managed to take out all of Mono.Ferus with Baron. So you got to think, what is Mono's mentality right now, seeing how they just lost
well,
that
hopefully
extended fight?
Mono's mentality is for Corki to get out of that dragon pit so that he doesn't die.
Good call.
Yeah, but so Dynamic's actually able to pick up that dragon. Mono's mentality, they have to know that they need to get onto Don't Mash Me. They know how devastating he is right now.
There's Australia's he's running so fast and then followed up by running so slow.
It's interesting because the biggest weakness to Misfortune is her short range and lack of escapes. And Karthus, you would think Karthus would be really strong against that. If he gets into the back line, he exhausts. That's usually his strength, is destroying AD carries like that. It's, like 3 or 4 lay waste, but none of these fights is Karthus getting deep enough to shut down Don't Mash Me. Really, Karthus needs to be able to just get in that back line and force him off, kind of like Reginald and how he plays Karthus.
You Rupture out in front, Nintendo taking a bit of a hit. He's got the shield on, going straight on in for the fear down on Nick Smithy. He will be running around in circles, but he got some poke coming in from Lulu and from Corki. Dynamic wisely going to back off temporarily, but you do see that the minions are running amok now here in the bot lane as a pretty damn decent wave getting its push down there. But Dynamic, they're hungry. They took out that tower. They want to take out that inhibitor because they know once they take that out, they can start pressuring the other lanes. But Mono, they're here. They want to defend as much as possible. The Ruptures trying to get the pop-ups, but Nintendo now is sufficiently getting tankier. He's got that giant spell. He's got that health. He has that support now, and also all the orbs coming from Orianna for the added shield.
Yeah, and that's what's allowing them to poke in and out. They know that they can protect against some of this harass damage. Having the Orianna shield is what allowed them to back those door those turrets. The bot turrets, they could actually transition over to there. They're kind of, I think, a little hesitant to come in on the main inhibitor. They want to open up an opportunity for themselves, but they get the quick Shurelya's out of there. They're able to back off for a second and then regroup.
Intended once again out in front, trying to take as much of the front line damage as he can. Silence going down in Katarina, that's never a good thing. Orb to help protect, and yet the minions are doing quite. Actually, you may not even need to go down there. That's actually a really damn heavy wave, but you also got a nice wave pushing here up in the top lane too. So super minions now, you'll just get a huge clump of them. That should be fine on its own.
It seems they're stalling pretty effectively, though, even without the turret. It's just the Karthus and Cho'Gath AoE.
Fury Cloud taking a huge chunk from that Ori orb. And the minions are still continuing to push, and that is it. There's the engage. You got Lulu out in front. On to Cruiser Rouge. You got the pulverize, keeping everyone knocked up too.
Mash Me goes down. That's it.
Mash Me goes down, but so does the Karthus, but he questions.
Nien's looking good.
Dynamic, they're trying to just pull themselves together. Rupture Contended, going to be going down next. And Pixel, you got Paradoxical actually off on the side. He will manage to get away, but Pixel will not be as lucky. They got it. They got Don't Mash Me.
Yeah, that was the key. They needed to be able to dive on Don't Mash Me, and that's really the weakness of that AD carry. And it was actually interesting because of the positioning. He was backed up against the wall, and he was turning down the corridor, which means one of two things. One, they're either going to be able to force him into the wall where he has no escape path, or two, he's going to have to keep on running down towards top lane, in which case he's going to be completely split from his team. So it was the second they were able to pinch them along that curve there, or along the turn, that was when they were able to close on him. And it took a while for Mandatory Cloud to actually get in the back line. It was just Cho'Gath and Rengar, but Cho'Gath actually forcing the flash in order to get back there. But Karthus at the end was just barely able to struggle to get in that back line. I think it's a lot to do why Karthus has been struggling to engage on Misfortune with Orianna, and Orianna's done a really nice job of zoning him out. Yeah. Every single fight, Paradoxical's able to kind of shut him down. But they're finally able to take down Don't Mash Me, and that's really what they need to happen in this fight for Mono to be able to pick this up. Now Dynamic, on the other hand, it's an even game back and forth, and they've been winning pretty significantly a lot of these fights that it doesn't seem like they should be able to pull out just because of the Misfortune. If they can keep Misfortune alive, they want to be able to poke in. They need long fights. They can't allow those quick AoE fights, and I think that's why they struggle when they're pushing up on that inhibitor, because their back's against the wall. They don't have quite as much room for an open, kind of retreat.
Now this is what concerns me right now about Don't Mash Me, because you're looking at the items in comparison to Nien on the other team, and I feel that Nien has an item that Mash Me should have, and that's a Guardian Angel. Because you're recognizing now that, okay, MF, you're the squishy part of this, like, we need you to live. And I'm surprised to see Mash Me going for the Infinity Edge instead of a Guardian Angel.
And I think it's partially that if he knows if the GA procs, then he's going to be dead anyway on the respawn, and he wants to have as much damage as possible to just win the fights for his team with his ultimate. So he kind of decides on that damage. The Oracles and Xmithie, they're able to clear out that Baron.
GA on Cruiser also. That's
really gonna hurt.
That's really gonna suck. It's essentially a 5v7 if you play your cards right.
And that's part of what Dynamic's been thriving on, is the fact that Cruiser's been trying to get into that backline on Don't Mash Me, but he's been dying too fast. They've been able to poke him down, and that's been a real struggle for Mono, but it's really going to be tough. It's going to be interesting.
Well, this could be bad. If it wasn't for the Wall of Pain, this actually could have been a lot worse, because Corki was not with the team, neither was Rengar, and you had both Xmithie and Muffin Kitty actually exploring the Baron pit. But Dynamic, they're like, F it, let's just go continue.
I think they're going for it. Are they going to go for the inhibitor?
I think they're making they were making a rush, and then Karthus showed up. It's like, oh, there's a late lace. There's probably going to be a wall behind it, and there it is. Nintendo severely slowed. Popping the Shirley's, but it's probably not going to be enough. There is the ultimate, and right now, Dynamic, I'm not liking this engage a whole lot. A little bit out of desperation. You got the Feast Gummy going down. Will Katarina fall?
Both ADs are safe, though.
Oh, both ADs are safe. They're still doing plenty of damage, but there is the first GA proc down onto Cruiser Bruiser. He's not going to have that for a while. The question is, will he actually live? No, he will not. Nintendo, nice with the shield to protect himself from the Karthus ult. That will not be getting anybody down whatsoever.
Oh, man. And Zion Spartan, look at how much HP he has. I know you're gonna get hot for that. He's just barely surviving from that Karthus ultimate.
Got the Vapors.
They're able to force the back. Nien's gonna go down. This is actually a great situation. One more attack. Don't Mash Me, can't quite get it. Nien, he gets in the exhaust. Wow, Nien won, and the GA procking. The exhaust was just barely enough. I thought that Don't Mash Me was gonna win that exchange. Alistar, he caught them out of position, and it looked like Don't Mash Me was gonna rock Corki, and then he couldn't, and now this opens up a potential Baron. It's still scary.
This is extremely scary.
Nocturne's going to come in on the backside. It's really dangerous for them.
Ultimate is down, though, but here comes the Shroys, followed up by the slow from the Wall of Pain. Zion Spartan wants some damage, but does get Polymorph. That interrupts the ultimate, and Yen going to be grabbing that kill. Nintendo going down, also nice collapse from Mono.Ferus, and they will be able to resume that Baron. Wow.
And Nien has enough damage. They're going to take this down pretty easily. Paradoxical, he wants to come down, see what he can do. Alistar's with him, so they might be able to get some nice damage on them. If they can take him down fast enough, Alistar, he gets in there, but he can't quite steal it. Cho'Gath is able to get that, and Cho actually seems a little bit too tanky to go down as well. Nien trying to pick up the kill into Paradoxical. Pixel won't be so lucky as Paradoxical to be able to get out of there, so he will go down himself. And now it's a 4K gold lead, and then also that Baron for Mono to try and push back on Dynamic, and it's been down to the wire for a while now, but Dynamic slowly starting to fall apart.
There's been now just a massive shift of power between the ADs. Corki now, with the Guardian Angel just on its own, has helped them remain in the fight, stick around, and help the team grab that Baron with the damage they so sorely needed to take it down with such efficiency. Now, only just now is Don't Mash Me realizing, okay, now I have all my damage. Now I need to get my Guardian Angel. Granted, remember, Cruisers is actually still going to be down for about 3 more minutes. Same thing with Nientensos. So there's a very limited time frame. About how much time is left on the Baron, actually. So, shortly before the Baron goes down is when the GAs are actually going to start popping back up. That's a very threatening situation to have one buff go down but the other come back.
Yeah.
That's rough.
No, it is going to be interesting. I think that Dynamic, they still have some nice pickoff potential with Nintendo. They can try and, if they see anyone out of position, then they can force a fight. So it's less so trying to grab one individual, and more so like if Corki's bottom, or if in this case, Cho'Gath's bottom, Nocturne can force a hard enough initiation that they could force a 4v5. And even with the Baron, Dynamic will be able to win a 4v5 situation. Other than that, yeah, it does come down to holding off until that Baron's down off of them. They do have the AoE with both Misfortune and Orianna in particular, that they'll be able to clear out the minion waves pretty easily. Like it'll be kind of difficult for Mono to push into them right now, but we'll see. I mean, again, everything is going to come down to the ADs, and both of them have so much damage at this point compared with the rest of their team that it's just who lives the longest.
Yep, get about 800 gold that Don't Mash Me needs in order to finish off that Guardian Angel. And until he does, until he has that money, it's just keep them away. Keep them away from me, please. I don't want to die. Just make sure that they don't ace us at the very least.
A lot of it is they need to just hold off for the next 30 seconds until his flash is back up. They can't fight until his flash is back up.
And look how much damage Nien is just taking off just the auto attacks. Huge massive chunks off the turret. Pixel is actually brought back up. He is slowly be able to get out of there. Yes, he got Orianna for the orb for a shield, but that is a tier 2 down in mid. Mono.Ferus looking to continue to push Ruptures down onto the back line just to keep them annoyed, just to kill more time for the creeps.
And all the lanes are pushed for them. They have momentum everywhere, and that means that if they lose a fight, they're not going to really lose anything. It's going to be difficult for Dynamic to push into them, but if they win a fight, they're going to take everything.
And I think Dynamic, they were putting Mono in the same situation just a few mere minutes ago.
Yeah.
How the tables have actually changed in this game. xMe out in front, he's still huge. He's got those max stacks, looking for those Ruptures, looking for free damage and the CC he needs. And for whatever reason they could take to just go for an engage right on into the base. Everyone's a little split now. xMe wanted to clear the wave to make sure that wave actually hits the tier 3 and bot. Paradox was going to be caught up. The Feast, bringing him down to half. Knows that's the warning shot. Back off. I will eat more.
Well, and Paradoxical being that low, they're not necessarily going to be able to kill him, but it makes them a little bit more hesitant. It's going to allow Mono to poke in at this tower a little bit more confidently. Nien, it seems that his GA is up. Is that correct?
Nien, not yet. You still got about 30 seconds.
Okay, so yeah, it'll be up shortly.
Up.
Oh yeah, there it is. You're right. It does have like 30 seconds, but so he's able to poke in and out of the turret. Once it's up, he should be confident enough that he's going to be able to take down that turret. So Dynamic really has to be careful now.
Cruiser to Bruiser's GA is up though. He can charge right head on first in these fights.
Baron's down.
Baron is now down. Very slim window before Nien's GA actually comes back up. Muffin Cutie chunked out huge by the Ori orb, but that minion has now been cleared and Dynamic reflecting that push.
Yeah, Mono just backing off, recognizing, all right, the Baron's down. Let's hold off for a second. Wait until that next Baron respawn. We don't want to force anything that we might lose. Nien is out of position, though, if they can engage on him. Katarina and Alistair both trying to take him down, and Nocturne coming down as well. This is really dangerous. Nien, start booking it. He's going to back out.
Or flap your wings.
Yeah, it seems like he's going to be able to get out of there in time, but Katarina going to go and try and counter push. So right now, Dynamic, they want to try and get momentum in all of the lanes, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now. They need to keep up their farm, get momentum in the lanes so that it starts pushing back against Mono, and they don't have to worry about losing their entire base anymore.
Yep. So around the 49-minute mark is when that Baron is actually going to start respawning. I think mashMe has enough for the GA. It's just a matter of actually going back and buying it, so we're going to have that at the very least. Now going on into the next fight. Can Nintendo buy one also? No, he's not quite as far along. But even then, we actually see the Randuin's actually coming onto him, as another alternative, because he already has a Heart of Gold. He can build into that and get that extra slow gun into these fights. But it looks like Zion Spartan's actually working for a GA of his own also. Just needs to get the gold to get that support, and also picks up a red elixir.
Oh man, and both ED carries, they're fully farmed. The only thing that's left is potentially selling those Berserker Greaves for another Phantom Dancer. Getting, potting up in particular, red elixirs, green elixirs, those will really have a big impact on the fight, and at least the fight's coming up. So we'll see what both of those ADs can do. I mean, everyone is so deep in their build. There's a gold lead for Mono. It's the 7K gold lead, but it's really not that big of a deal anymore. You see the AP carries for both teams are incredibly farmed.
Oh yeah.
The tanks, they're fairly tanky.
427 farm on Corki.
And the Warmog on Nintendo. I mean, it's not like the gold advantage is really giving them that much at this point in the game.
And that's actually a recent Warmog's pickup also, so just to clear up other inventory slots, so you can just buy other stuff. That is not a very deeply farmed Warmogs at all. Bloodthirster full on MF, of course. Bloodthirster's full on Corki also. Rod of Ages has been. Whoa, is that recent?
I don't remember, actually. I don't think so. I think that was one of his first items, so that might be just a glitch.
It could be a glitch,
but it looks like they're actually surrounding them. They're in an interesting situation here. So the Oracles on xMe, it allows them to get that ward coverage.
Wall of Pain, Pixel is slowed. Rupture will be popping up on him. He may be caught. This may be the start to the fight, but you got mashMe out in the back, throwing down the ultimate, bringing everyone very low. There's the Orianna orb, taking 4 members of Mono.Ferus.
Oh, they have them zoned.
But she got him zoned, and he also got the card this AoE. Everyone clumped in. Double kill for the Corki going on, and he wants a little bit more. Cruiser and Bruiser are going to be coming back up with that Guardian Angel, throwing down the leap onto Don't Match Me, going to be using his Guardian Angel too. Nien is off on the side, can get a little bit more damage. He's got a huge Rocket Smithy running interference. Attack me please. But you got the Valkyrie, you got Nien with the delayed triple. Paradoxical has no choice but to use the Zonia's Hourglass, and there's Nien for the triple. That is a delayed Penta, unfortunately, but that is everyone cleaned up by Corki and an ace for Mono.
It's just really awesome fight on both sides. They're able to keep their ADs alive. The GAs both proccing, but then Cho'Gath actually able to get in the face of Misfortune, able to wear her down a little bit. Even though Zion Spartan was able to come back and pick up a couple of kills, and Nien was able to sneak around from the bush. So they're able to pick that up. Plants. They get the inhibitor as well. The flash goes off for Nien. Is that a surrender?
I think it is.
Okay, so they are pushing the Nexus. It's really close. 9 seconds left. Nintendo, he doesn't have his ultimate up. The first Nexus turret goes down. Muffin Cutie, he's actually tanking it. They're trying to get it down before Nintendo gets in here. It's very close. Nintendo, he's going to try and stop this Nien. Can he do it? The GA is down. Alistar coming in as well. They're going to try and fight this Nintendo walking into them, but I think Nien, he's going to have this.
Nien has plenty of damage, but he just Valkyrie's on in. He wants to make sure he takes that away.
Second turret down. Nexus is going down.
Muffin Cutie's out of mana. He can't do a whole hell of a lot, but Nien is still out in front, piling on plenty of damage. Fear Tether's going down. Will it be enough to take down the Corki? He's ace. He's just wrecking them inside their own base. Just one-man army on top of the earth. Don't Match Me still in pursuit, though. One more shot, and the GA will now finally come back up, but he will be surrounded. He will not be going far, and that is the shutdown coming in from Don't Match Me. Muffin Cutie in full retreat. This is a huge opportunity for Dynamic. They have a decent...
It's a huge opportunity for them to lose to the Rengar backdoor.
There is the Oh, that's right. Rengar is here. He can go backdoor if they decide to Baron. I forgot about that.
Oh, but Lulu almost going down. Katarina coming in, actually uses the Zonias, so it's an even fight here. There are no ADs except for Mashme, so he's going to be able to clean them up. He's going in. I think he has enough damage if he can chase them down. Muffin Cutie just barely recalling in that pit. And Smithy caught out by Pixel. He's going to go down. The juke from Don't Mash Me for a second, avoiding that rupture. They'll be able to chase him down, so they pick that up. There are no teleports from Mono, but that being said, anyone who gets in on that Nexus will, very easily be able to take that down, and it's a dangerous spot. Dynamic, they need ward coverage out by their bot lane because they can't allow anyone to sneak up that lane.
Baron is now up, and I think Dynamic are going to make a rush for it. They're going to try. They're going to try their damnedest. Don't Mash Me out first. Going to start it on his own. And it's actually quite a bit of decent damage coming from MF. And you also got Pixel and Paradoxical here just for a little bit of extra, just for a little bit more support. Lulu gonna be first one to come out. Muffin Cutie throwing wards down is Curious, and there's a ward right out in front of the pit, but is going down relatively fast. 7-1 health. You got MF grabbing the Baron. Everyone on Dynamic except for Science Spartan does have it.
MF's
but they
so low, and Cruiser's here too.
They are trapped. They're trapped in the pit. There is no flash up for Joe Mashby. You have Pixel with the headbutt, just clearing the way to make sure MF can actually get out there, throwing down the ult in retreat just to make sure to get off. They get off, and now Dynamic, they are fine. They have the Baron buff. They managed to take it away, make sure Mono.Ferus does not have it, but there is still the matter of the push going on into their base.
Oh, Paradoxical, the ultimate goes off. They're trying to defend their base right now, but Paradoxical's caught off Nien. He's actually going to go down. He walks right into Don't Mash Me. He thought he had Paradoxical, but he was actually mistaken, and they're actually going to try and maybe cut them off. No, Mono's going to back off.
They know how quickly Nien went down. They know they don't have enough damage to try and take him out if Nien isn't there, so they really have no choice. They have to back off.
And that's actually going to allow them to get that inhibitor back up. Nien dying there, it stalls long enough for them to get the inhibitor back up, and maybe they can make something happen out of that Baron.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. We're now going in. This is super late game. We are past the 50-minute mark. Gold difference is pretty much meaningless at this point.
Yeah.
It really is. And you also have Don't Mash Me, recognizing the has the GA down, actually decides to sell it and buy a second Bloodthirster, knowing he's not going to have that. But it is a global cooldown. You know he's not going to have him. You might as well, in the meantime, have more damage.
That's an absurd amount of damage. He's probably sitting at around 400 AD right now.
448.
450. Okay,
to be precise, with that Baron buff.
He still can charge his Bloodthirster up a little bit, I'm sure. So that really is insane how much damage he does. He's going to eat through anyone very quickly.
Let's see, oh god, 909. That's like.
What are you trying to calculate?
Calculate how much he crits for. It's
like,
like 1150 crits.
Yeah, it was like 1125.
1125. It's past 1,000.
Yeah.
He's critting for over 1,100 damage at this point. This is ridiculous.
It's really high. I mean, it's that's pretty absurd. So, I don't know. It really just comes down to if he can live long enough to get off that kind of damage. And
I hope so.
You know, it's kind of like a 50-50 chance. It's half the fights he can, half he can't.
And also considering that he's nearly doing more than double damage on the ult 2 whenever he gets that. Absolutely absurd damage. And it's not just mashme, it's Nien too. I mean, he's a little bit further behind. He's about like 356.
Well, he has a little bit more burst.
But he's got burst. He's got the Trinity, which
and
is
a little
huge.
bit more survivability as well.
Also that too. He sold the executioners, and he's like, you know what? I think I want the Bloodthirster after all.
Yeah, it's really just a lot of damage on both of them. Really powerful builds. The inhibitor, it is back up. They are trying to stall for it. Muffin Cutie kind of caught out of position. The fear goes off, but Nintendo, they don't have any sort of follow-up. Corki is up top, though. I don't think they've peeked him yet. They do see him now, though. They know Corki is up top if they can try and force a fight.
Cruiser is with Smithy. You got Mandatory Cloud with Muffin Cutie. And yes, Nien is up on top all by his lonesome. Paradoxical now with the Guardian Angel. The Guardian Angels are starting to stack everywhere, and you see it actually outnumbering. Corki actually sold his too, recognizing the proc is down to build more damage. This is getting ridiculous. This is getting way too damn ridiculous. Nien out in front, wants a few shots, takes a quick orb from Oriana, knows he has to back off, knowing that the mid-tier 3 is still now only at half health. You got Rengar and Cho off, separated from the rest of their team. Oriana, you got Nocturne. Nintendo trying to get some vision, trying to get something. Give him a reason to dive on in.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a really dangerous spot right now, but Mono, I think, also recognizes that Oriana and, you know, Misfortune are really serious threats at this point, and they know that any sort of misstep, if Nien goes down, then that's just free reign for Dynamic to, you know, just push into him, win this game. The next fight is likely going to be a Nexus for either team. I mean, it's very close to being that point. You know, so I think both teams are going to kind of position for a little bit, because they both recognize, all right, you know, next fight is definitely going to be an inhibitor for both teams.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, one misstep, and that could just instantly lose either team the game. I mean, definitely for Dynamic's sake. If Dynamic gets aced and anyone's alive for Mono, that's going to be GG. I mean, they're going to be able to end the game. But I think it's the same case going back for our Dynamic side.
Dynamic now has 4 Guardian Angels. The global cooldown on Don't Mash Me is now expired, so he's decided to sell that second Bloodthirster and rebuy. 4 revives for Dynamic. Right now, Mono.Ferus only has 2, only on Corki and on the Rengar. Corki's cooldown is also back up, so he sold, I can't even remember what he sold to get that back.
And for them to know the cooldown timers is really important.
Very
so
impressive.
They know the timers for when they can rebuy the GA without actually having to look at it.
And the fact that you've gotten this point, this so far into the game, where you can sell stuff, we sell the GA, buy something, sell that, and then rebuy it. That's how much gold these guys have. We're hitting 20K on many members of the game. 23K onto Corki.
Yeah, it really is insane. There's a lot of damage on both sides. You know, everyone has basically full item builds. The only one that I see is Nocturne. Oh, actually, I guess Katarina's, you know, could use for another item or two.
But they have to keep slots open for wards, just to make sure they still have vision. Smithy looking for the Scream on the 2 members of Dynamic. But Nintendo out in front, they're able to clear the wave. You got that tree, that nice fancy new ward. Smithy looking for that rupture. He wants the reason for the rest of his team to engage. You got the make it rain, throw down some bolts, keeping slow for slow. Nintendo with the shield, he's going to be absorbing that. But Nintendo's actually getting very low to a lot of this repeated poke. He cannot be doing that forever.
Yeah, he's going to need to heal, and actually opens up an opportunity for them to push in. They can poke this turret down a little bit. Nocturne still has that ultimate to get back into them, but they still get some free damage on that inhibitor.
Oriana Orb out in front, putting down the framework for a potential initiation later. You got a little bit of damage from Zion Spartan, and he's going in. Zion Spartan straight for the backline, and he uses the Zonias immediately. You got the ult from MF doing quite a bit of damage, and everyone from Mono is in a massive clump.
Instant combo.
The Guardian Angels are being procced, and you got the Alistar hitting down on the backline of the Corki, and Rengar goes down. That's a double kill.
How much damage can they do?
Ace. complete ace from Dynamic.
You hear the chat going wild. How much damage can they do to this turret now? They were all caught in the Orianna ultimate. That was insane, the AoE from them.
They have a full minute. They have a full minute to wander out into base, taking him in the Nexus.
GG. I think that's GG. We had talked about
Absolutely
it.
Huge.
The next one fight ends the game. They're going to have plenty of time to do it. They had the survivability with the Orianna ultimate, and it seemed like Mono had the game. It had been back and forth the entire time, but one lost fight, and now they've lost. That's it. There's the shield on the Nintendo. Don't mash me. He's taking the turrets as well. They have plenty of time left. 30 seconds. They're taking the Nexus turrets. Game number 1 goes to Dynamic over Mono.
Yeah, game 1. Game number 1. This is a series, and this is how it starts for the seeding match. I cannot believe this. Wonderful start to the night. Fantastic. And even then, when Dynamic went in for that fight, the only GA of theirs to proc was Zion
And
Spartans.
let's go back and look at that. No. And that's it.
And that's it.
But yeah, really impressive play from both teams. The last fight, Nien, he was outside of the Misfortune ult. The Misfortune ult near the end of that game, it doesn't scale very well through the game. So like through the middle of the game, it was really impressive.
Right.
Near the end, not quite so much. It wasn't doing anywhere near as much damage, but it was the Orianna. It held them all together. Then Alistar, he had the combo, the headbutt pulverize. So they had these multiple knockups. Then they were just able to combo on them. Zion Spartan, he got a full ultimate.
Yes, he did.
Channel, there was nothing to stop him because they were in the